So I ditched my Apollo X4 for this NUX NAI-24 to record an entire song just to see how it would hold up, and I was pleasantly surprised, but this thing is not without its flaws, so I'm definitely going to talk about those as well. NUX did send me the NAI-24 to review, but this video isn't being screened or sponsored by them, so I am going to talk about what I like and don't like after using this to record an entire track. Obviously, this isn't going to continue to replace my Apollo, but for a $300 interface, there's a lot of value packed in here, so let's talk about it. There are a lot of good interfaces in this price range, specifically the Volt 276, which as of right now is the same price and has some very similar features, but it's also missing several things that the NAI-24 has. I'll talk more on that in a minute, but let's take a look at what all this interface brings to the table. The NAI-24 has 2 inputs, 4 line outputs, 2 headphone outputs with independent volume control, and is bus powered via USB-C. You can record up to 32-bit 192 kilohertz, which is very impressive for the price. Each channel has 48-volt phantom power, a line switch, and a button that engages a preamp module with a built-in 1176 inspired compressor. This is very useful for a couple of reasons. The preamp will give you some extra gain when you're using dynamic mics that are very quiet in nature, and with the compressor, you can start to control your dynamics on the way into your DAW. I'm actually recording this audio using the NAI-24 with the 76 pre button engaged and set to the vocal compression setting. I will say that I was very impressed with how clean the preamps are. I've used some noisy interfaces in the past, and I didn't expect this one to handle this SD1 so well, but it's doing great without a mic booster, though I do have the gain set pretty high on the interface. Now, you do have the ability to direct monitor using this mix knob, but I find that I personally don't ever use stuff like this when it's available, just because I'm so used to the workflow of monitoring through my DAW. It can be useful. The mix knob just allows you to blend the direct signal of your inputs with 0 latency with your USB playback signal. That's about as sophisticated as it gets, but this is common with interfaces in this price range. You also have the ability to send your USB playback into your DAW using the loopback button, and I don't think I've seen other interfaces in this price range that have a dedicated button for this. A lot of interfaces have this feature available via software only. Let me know if I'm forgetting something. You also get a lot of cool monitoring features with the NAI-24. The stereo button is used when using the direct monitoring feature, and essentially if you're recording a stereo source and you want to hear it in stereo using the direct monitoring, you can hit that button and it will pan the 2 channels left and right. If the stereo button is disengaged, both channels will be centered in mono. You also get a mute button, which is nice to have, but this is where it gets a little tricky. The Out 3 and 4 button has a couple of different functions. If you're in recording mode, you can use output 3 and 4 on the back of the interface to send a different signal or mix than your main mix via your DAW. In that mode, pressing the Out 3 and 4 button will allow you to hear that signal in your main monitors. But if you put it in AB mode, you can set up a second pair of monitors to output 3 and 4 and use the Out 3 and 4 button to toggle between the 2 sets of monitors. Lastly, you'll see that there are separate volume knobs for the main output, Out 3 and 4, Headphone 1, and Headphone 2, which is great to see. But unfortunately, I do not like these knobs at all, so let's talk about cons. I was massively disappointed when I saw the knobs in person because in the picture, I really got the vibes of like a Neve style color scheme, but in reality, they feel and look pretty cheap. I still love the colors, layout, and the overall look of this interface, but it would have been so much better in my opinion if they had put some better knobs on here. Along those lines, the buttons don't feel great. I will say that for the price, I'd rather have all of these buttons than have to get rid of some of them to keep the price down. I appreciate everything that this does, but I think nicer hardware would have gone a long way here. There's also no sophisticated software that comes with the NAI-24, which is fine, but worth noting. You do get Cubase LE bundled with this. Some people really enjoy the full version of Cubase, so if you don't have a DAW, I guess this could be a gateway into that ecosystem. While I do stand by these cons 100%, I think the overall functionality and quality of the preamps make up for a lot of it, so let's take a listen to a couple tracks I recorded using the NAI-24. The main things I used this interface for were vocal tracks, guitar tracks, and a couple of tracks using my Yamaha CP73. The rest were virtual instruments.
Get a little tired of the middle, wearing out my smile just a little. Gotta follow one path or another.
Like I said before, I was very impressed with the preamps here. I didn't fight any noise at all, which helps a ton. Hey, if you're getting any value out of this video, would you consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing so you don't miss more videos like this one? I truly appreciate it, and I'm more than happy for you to be part of this community. Thanks. As I said before, there are a lot of interfaces in this price range, but I would say the most similar interface would be the Universal Audio Volt 276. So let's do a quick comparison between the two interfaces. As far as similarities go, both are 2-channel interfaces with built-in preamp and compression switches featuring multiple compression modes depending on your source. You get a main volume, a separate headphone control, input and output metering, and that's about it, but you can kind of see what I mean when I say these are quite similar. On the Volt, you only get one headphone jack and one set of line outs instead of the two on the NUX interface. Along those lines, the Volt is also missing the out 3 and 4 functions and the dedicated mute, loopback, and stereo buttons, which are present on the NAI-24. You do get direct monitoring on the Volt interface, but you can only toggle it on and off rather than blend the two signals. Unlike the NUX, the Volt does have MIDI in and out, a dedicated power switch, and a nice collection of UAD plugins bundled with it, which I think is a pretty big draw. Both interfaces are priced well. It just depends on whether you're more interested in the reputation and plugins that come with UA or the additional features that come with NUX. Like I said before, I did record an entire track using the NAI-24 instead of my Apollo X4, and here's a clip of that track for your reference. It was very easy to use, and obviously you get better preamps on something like an Apollo, but those are also much more expensive than this. I think for either as a travel interface or a beginner setup, you could do a lot with it. So especially with all of the other options available, do I recommend the NUX NAI-24? Based on my experiences so far, I do think there's a lot of value that comes with this, and depending on your needs, I think this could be a great fit for a lot of people, mainly those who would benefit from the extra monitoring features. If that doesn't resonate with you, you might be better off with another option. I'll make sure and put a link to the NUX NAI-24 down in the description if you're interested, but if you want to see a list of audio interfaces I recommend for every budget, click this video right here, and as always, thanks for hanging out.